Hi, 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 hi. Hi, everybody. It's me. I'm streaming. I'm doing my thing. This will be hi, everybody. Hi, Nis. Hi, AC. Hi, a lot of folks who showed up earlier. Hi, hi, hi. Before I get started, I really quickly want to thank Shaxpert for the 10-month resub. Assert dominance with the T-chart. I will. We learned all about accounting earlier. Did you know accounting comes from the word counting? You know now. All right, so I'm going to show off Interactive Entertainment issue 9 today. And this will be my last stream before I move. So this is my last stream at this house. I'm going to miss it. A lot of things I'm not going to miss about it. The toilets suck a lot. There's also a major issue with the with the foundation, so that's not good. So that'll be nice to live in a house with a foundation that works. And I'm going to be within walking distance of a bus at my new place instead of having to hoof it, like to get a ride share to the bus stop. So that's great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the move. Not looking forward to actually moving things, but I'm looking forward to the being on public transit and living. That's right, 10-minute walk away from not one, but 2 different taco places. So fuck everything. I'm excited. Real quick, Cambertian with the 2-month resub. Counting, yeah. I do love counting. All right, folks. Before we get started with this issue, guess what I have? That's right. I got a drink on sale at HEB. All right, let's see what we got here today. It's Junie for a happy mind, sparkling tea with adaptogens. It's peach flavored. It's got 0 sugar. Key ingredients include agave, inulin, organic ashwagandha and lion's mane, and some rachiac extract. Yum yum. Yum yum. All right. I don't know what adaptogens are either. All right, here we go. I'm opening it up. Man, I would, I haven't had it yet, but I haven't, well, either of things. There's a vegan cheese place called like Rebel Cheese or Rebel Foods or something that I always pass by on the bus. And like, I gotta know how it tastes. All right, I'm taking a sip right now. What the fuck? Why does it have a cheese aftertaste? It's like, it starts off with a little peach flavor, so you're like, okay, that does seem good, and then all the mushrooms hit you, and it tastes like cheese. And the thing is, I like kombucha, but kombucha doesn't taste like cheese. It's got to be the mushrooms, right? Oh God, I don't actually know if I can finish this one. This is going to be a tough one.
AP also included some inferences.
Thank you, Smebble. 6-month resub tragedy. Your supermarket isn't restocking the Rambler. No, Rambler is. Ooh. It tastes like. Okay, that's actually a good point. It kind of tastes like bad vegan cheese. I don't know if you've ever had bad vegan cheese, but I have, and it's not good. I'm curious about good vegan cheese, though. I know it must exist. Anyways, it's this Junie. I am not buying you again. You are go. I really don't like the lady on the front of it. Like, look at her or him or them. I don't know who they are.
It just seemed like another sad case of people killing
They're watching you. They're emerging from the swamp to haunt you with their bad drink. All right, get out of here, Junie. I will try to finish this, but because because I don't like wasting things, but I have a feeling that the Junie sparkling tea is going down the kitchen sink. This is genuinely one of the worst things I've had on stream. This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm honestly impressed with it. Thank you, Sammy Vega, 8FP, for the 2-month sub. Thank you so much. All right, folks, it's here. It's Xena. And you know what Xena means? Xena means interactive entertainment. What am I? No, wrong place. Xena. Also, I'm doing, pardon me, I'm doing a new sound setup for this, so hopefully it should be louder than usual.
Welcome to episode 9 of Interactive Entertainment. This month, we'll give you a sneak preview of Domark's Lords of Midnight, The Citadel, plus part 1 of our 4-part Doom 2 hints and tips featuring IE's Doomavision. And last
Doomavision?
IE kicks off the new year with a new interface.
Ooh! Oh, so this is
think.
95.
And
okay.
now, episode 9 of Interactive Entertainment.
Where's the jaunty tune? No! The jaunty tune! My jaunty tune! Oh, but I can't be too mad because look at this fucking interface. It's got a huge dragon. I'm in love. I'm in fucking love. All right, this is good. This is good. It's got a big dragon. Someone riding it. No idea who they are, but you know, they've got a little saddle on. They're stepping on the dragon's arms, which kind of sucks. So I was like, stop stepping on my arm. All right, let's go to departments. Look at this. This is so cute. It's so different now. Yeah, whatever happened. Da-da, 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 da-da. I miss it. Oh, well. Let's see the letter to the editor. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. This is so fancy. Oh, they've really upgraded. Oh, yeah. No. I also am not used to the way I sounded pre-HRT. It's why I'm like, no, you got to get me on T. All right, you've got to check out my cool envelope. I think your magazine is fantastic and a great source of game info, except for a few minor gripes I have with it. Please don't hurt me. I just think including a few more animations would be nice. Also, when I go to the ads menu, my only selection is a single unlabeled button. When I push it, it won't work. What gives? Finally, I really hate it when I finish a great review of a game and then I am forced to sit through a long, tedious advertisement trying to get me to subscribe. At least on paper, I can turn the page, put in an escape key or something so people who are sick of it can get out. Thanks. I don't want to sound like a complainer like many of the letters you receive. I sincerely think you have a quality product. These are just suggestions to make it better. Thank you for your time. P.S. I sent in an envelope a few weeks ago with 3 stormtroopers on it. I was wondering if you could contact me and let me know if you received it. Thanks. You're not going to show it to me? Fuck you. I want to see the stormtroopers. Anyways. Yeah, pre-HRT me, I also prefer post-HRT me. Note, this person does not work for IE, I swear. Thanks for the kind words. Yes, we got your letter. Anyone wanting to look at the envelope in question can find a scan of it in the extras directory on your CD. Sorry, we couldn't incorporate it into the letter section on such short notice. Read the ads button. Mayan goes to the doctor, raises his arm and says, it hurts when I do that. Doctor says, well, don't do that. Translation, we don't have any ads, so the ads menu doesn't do anything. The button is a bug. Don't touch it and it won't hurt you. Read the sub ad. Sheesh. We finally agreed not to run the ad during the articles. Now you want to not run it between the articles? But when can we run it? I don't think you're going to see an escape key option anytime soon, but we've considered it. Gee, then we'd have to make our sub ad interesting enough that you'd be compelled to watch it. Maybe stick in some naked vampire babes from space or something. What about naked vampire babes from Earth? Anyways, and hey, don't worry about the complaining. This is the only way we have to find out what people think of what we're doing. Keep them coming, even if they can't be all sunshine and flowers. TK, editor. All right, folks, I have to do this. Hold on. We'll be right back, but I have to see that letter. I have to see that letter. I have to see that letter.
Coming soon to a software store near you.
All right, let's see that letter. I gotta see it. All right, let's go to extra. Stop that. Let's go to extras. All right, come on, show me. Dark Sun. I want to look. What's this? It's a. Oh, it's a map. Okay, it's a map for a maze. Okay, that's cool. All right, y'all ready to see this? Da 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 da. Look at the stormtroopers! Oh my God! Look at this letter art. Oh boy, issue 6 of IE came out and I'm on the cover. No way, that's me on the cover. You're both wrong. That's me on the cover. This is some art that I love. Yes, thank you. I like the little Christmas stamp in the corner too. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Dan. Oh, nice. They got they crossed out a lot of his address there. Good. I don't need to know what Dan's address is. All right, back to the issue, but we had to see that. We absolutely had to see that. Hold on, I don't think we've had it today. Hold on, we need to do this. Where? Horse? What happened to my horse?
Welcome to
What happened to my horse? My horse isn't doing its noises. No. Anyways, I want my patches. I just received my latest letter of CGW and spent a lot of time flipping past ads that I didn't really want to read. But then again, I'm always looking for something different. I think your CD concept is great. I really missed your patch section, though. I particularly like your reviews. It really makes a difference when you can see the product before buying. I have so many games on my shelf that will never be played, only because I was impressed by the written ads. I also like your reviews. Every major game maker should use this media to demonstrate the product. I would like to see an issue that can be played from CD without having to be installed. Use one install and let any issue be viewed by selecting a number from a universal menu, says LC of Labrador City, Newfoundland, Canada. Editor's response. Well, here are patches. Here patches are again. Like I've said, we only omit them if we run out of space, which seems to happen every 3rd or 4th issue. Incidentally, you can play IE, usually without installing it each time. Just stick the disc in the drive and click on your old icon. Problems will only arise when we change the runtime stuff slightly. For example, when we upgrade to a new version of Video for Windows. If you try this and the thing runs flakily, then reinstall it from the new disk. However, whenever you install the mag anew, it overwrites the old code. The install will make a duplicate icon if one already existed, but you can delete it. All the icons work exactly the same way anyway. Okay. Some suggestions from Canada. Mom and Colo, Pong Graphics. Thanks for another great issue. I just love your publication. I was initially wooed by the gratis issues package with S+, but subscribed after about 3 of these. First, I would like to congratulate you on what appears to be your solution to the ad problem I perfect, but for the lack of ads, what happened? I would also like to say the sound quality on the Sid Meier interview was the best yet. Another welcome improvement. The things I like most about IE are the screenshots. I know magazine can come close to giving the reader an idea of what the game will look like. The witty repartee. The patches, definitely cheaper and easier than paying long distance or connect charges. The free games. These just keep getting better and better. The demos. The fact that both the 2 DOS demos played off the CD was awesome. I even liked the ads. Now, I realize this is inevitable, but I do have a couple of comments concerning this latest issue. What happened to the cool art that was used to decorate the non-business side of the CDs? I realized 7 was the second issue to appear unblazoned. The reviews of Mom and COL seem to ignore the fact that MPS have done precious little in the way of graphic enhancements in its latest strategy offerings. I realize that a great strategy game doesn't have to have SVGA graphics, but why not? Both Mom and Cole look as though they were written 2 or 3 years ago. The review of Wolf criticized its lack of graphic detail, but I submit that there is as much detail on that wolf as there is in one of those blocky little colonists. If we don't take MPS to task for ignoring the graphics on its games, we are going to be straining our eyes at these almost Pong-like creatures forever. The demo of Hammer of the Gods stood in stark contrast to the screenshots of COL and MOM. All right, that is enough ranting and raving. Thanks again for an awesome magazine. Whenever I get a new issue, I spend the next 4 hours going through the entire thing cover to cover. Keep up the good work. RW by Fax. We had no ads because we haven't sold any. Man, it's been 9 issues and they still haven't sold any ads. We're still working on it, though. I'm glad somebody noticed the improved sound quality in recent interviews. Amazing, isn't it? The difference a lousy $40 lapel mic can make. Regarding your likes, that's the plan. Witty, do you really think so? Again, that's the plan. Gee, what a nice thing to say about our free games. Most people's comments run more along the lines of, when are you going to get some free games that don't suck? Demos will play off the CD when they're CD demos. It's more of a function of how the people who create them give them to us than by any choice of ours. But yes, if we can make them run off CD, we will. But you just complained that there weren't any. I get it. We changed the art because 2-color disc screening is cheaper than 4-color, plain and simple. Since the art on the disc doesn't really affect the content, and because when the disc is packaged, the cover art doesn't appear on the package anyway, we decided that cutting costs was more important than looking pretty. Don't worry, we're not in danger of going under or anything. It was just prudent in light of the lack of ad income. Besides, as you can see this month, we found another use for the cover art. No excuses for the next point. You're right on both counts about Master of Magic and colonization. The art could have been better, and we should have mentioned it. As always, we tried to do better in the future, and I and you guys keep trying to catch us on these things. Somebody's got to keep us honest. 4 hours straight, but what do you do for the rest of the month? TK, editor. We usually do these for about 3 hours. All right. Revenge of the right-wing droolers. Welcome, Gamer James. All right, here we go. I picked up IE7 just to see if you'd use my fax in your letters to the editor.
Let's hear it for Jimmy Thud Tucker.
You did. Of course, now I have to pick up the next one to see if you're going to use this one. This could go on forever. Now, without any further fanfare, my reply to your reply, bombastic brass fanfare.wave file included with OLE doesn't transmit via fax, so you'll just have to imagine it out there in TV land. Of course, my fax is devoid of drool. I'm using a fax modem, and you can only transmit drool with a real fax machine. So you think that one offhand remark hardly constitutes a vile brainwashing attempt, huh? Well, buddy person, can't say buddy boy anymore, except that you can't say it. That just how it starts. It only takes one little pebble to start an avalanche. I know it takes one well, I don't have any more metaphors for that, but the next thing you know, you're downloading vociferous, closed-mind, right-wing drooler doom off the internet. Is that what we want our children doing? Huh? I ask you, I challenge you, I double dog dare you not to give me a good reason why we would ever want that. And also to let me know whether or not you'd be including it on iDisc as if it ever shows up, because I'd buy that sucker in a cold minute. And no, I've never made a crack about left-wing radical beatnik hippies. I would like to, but after 19 years of formal education, I still don't know what beatnik means. My SAT score allowed me to exempt English 101 in college, and that's probably where they taught it. Honestly, smart choice. My SAT scores allowed me to exempt English 101 in college, and that's probably where they taught it. Frankly, none of my college English classes went that well. After reading Thomas Hardy's The Return of the Native, I didn't know which one of the characters was the native. I did enjoy Charles Dickens' somewhat prescient biography of stage illusionist David Copperfield, though. Looks good for his age, doesn't he? Finally, ha! You got me there, Slick. Might as well roll over now. As your disclaimer points out, you used a smiley to mitigate any offensiveness which might be mistakenly construed from an offhand humorous remark that you were making. Well, on the CD service itself, there's a bit of text that claims that your product is true multimedia. Well, pardon me, Mr. or Mrs. I'm a cutting-edge multimedia provider person, but shouldn't you have used something like graphic of dude making the I should have had a VHS or omitted because it's a text file? The I can't believe I said that icon, which shows you're sweating or not, will take a people will take offense, or something even more graphical. Maybe a 50-frame AVI file that shows how you'd commit seppuku if you'd accidentally offended someone, or at the very least, eat a Brussels sprout. Come on, this is Windows. You could do better than smiley face. I'll say my dog can do better than that, but she can't. All she can do is introduce syntax errors into programs I'm working on by standing on the keyboard while I'm out of the kitchen getting a famous cola beverage. Oh my God, fuck. Sorry, this guy has much more comedy to go on. That crack about Brussels sprouts was not intended as a slight to anyone who likes Brussels sprouts. I like them myself. Some of my best side dishes are Brussels sprouts. I just know that a lot of people don't like them, and so it's easy to use them in a remark that like that. I could have said, for example, or at the very least, some liver, but it doesn't have the same rhythm. That bit about using liver instead of Brussels sprouts was not intended as a slight to anyone who likes liver, whether beef, chicken, or smooshed up paste of fat goose pate de foie gras. I like liver. Some of my best entrees are liver. It was also not intended to offend anyone who thought the use of Brussels sprouts in the context of fuck off. In that context was fine in the first place. Shh, it just fucking goes on. The use of the phrase fat goose was not intended as an insult to anyone who likes fat goose. Is a fat goose, is a goose, or is fat. I myself am fat. Some of my best friends are fat. The last remark was not intended as a snub to any friends who are fat and sensitive about it, or any of my friends who are fat and refuse to believe it. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Hi to new Kitsune. I did not mean to say you can stay. But these guys, okay, his joke keeps going. The reference to seppuku was not intended as a slight to anyone who believes in the practice of honorable suicide. Some of my best suicides have been, oops, I think that I just stepped over a line. Never mind. Forget what I was saying. Pretend it didn't exist. I want to hit this man in the face with a pie. Now, where was I? Your points are well taken. I know about slipping off the edge. Because I do it myself. I was doing it when I sent the fax to you, and I think I did a good job of it because I did it self-righteously. Let's face it, there's no point in being up there on your high horse unless you're going to be self-righteous about it. Now, time for some commentary. Another wave of Strauss's also Sprachzarthura. A new dialog box allowing the users to select font parameters are a great addition. Could you possibly get some different music for the main menu? The tune you're using is a little loopy sounding. How about Blues Walk? Track number 1 off of Lyle Lovitz and his brass band, or the Pontiac album, I forget which. I'd look it up, but that would mean actually walking across the room, and I'm just not in an exercising mood now. Maybe for your April 95, you could do a Talking Seattle Grunge Rock Blues edition and then leave it completely blank. Yes, I know I smacked you around for that smiley thing, but there aren't any characters in the true type Wingding font that look like snorting or guffawing, and I'm running late, so I don't have time to draw anything. He keeps going! The last suggestion regarding that April 95 issue of IE was not meant to offend anyone from Seattle, anyone who is a grunge rock or a fan of grunge rock, or anyone who has produced an album with nothing on it. On the other hand, if Todd Snyder can get away with saying things like that, so can I. In all, I think this was pretty funny, but it's not my best stuff. I just pulled an all-nighter at work, so I'm a little off my game. Still, it could be worse. I could be living in Newark. JBM of DeLand, Florida. P.S. That crack about Newark was not intended as a slur to any resident of Newark. Oh, who am I kidding? If you live in Newark, for crying out loud, move! Okay, wait a minute. There, I just shot the writer responsible for that right-wing drooler crack. I hope you're happy. Now, have no idea how we're going to get the Nexus done in time. Really, this is the kind of letter I love. No replies necessary. Kind of speaks for itself. I would like to reply to a few salient points, though. Right-wing drooler doom. Cool idea. I could picture it now. Rush Limbaugh's cacodemon. Pat Robertson, his archfiler, may be played from the right-wing drooler point of view, blowing away pornographers, homosexuals, and abortionists. If you thought the beatnik crack was obscure, you should have seen it before I pared it down. There were about 6 times as many adjectives, but it was a bit much. Text is medium. Therefore, any true multimedia product must include some. Besides, smileys are a long and honorable tradition on the internet. Why reinvent the wheel when you don't have to? Incidentally, this is a big problem I have with a lot of the multimedia products out there, especially games, but don't get me started. There are some things which simply should not be eaten. Among these things, I number Brussels sprouts. No offense to all the people around the world who make their living growing, selling, distributing, or preparing Brussels sprouts. Bash the little green buggers to death as far as I'm concerned. I really had to force myself not to cut the seppuku joke, but I had to be egalitarian. If we can make a few really bad jokes, so can our viewers, eh? I'm pretty sure Blueswalk is from And His Large Band because I know it isn't on Pontiac. Do you know how much distribution we need to actually be able to afford the royalties on a I Love It tune? Or by any other artist who's actually managed to sell a copy of an album to anyone they didn't know personally for that matter? I don't want to go into detail, but it's very expensive. However, some of our more clever staff members are trying to create some new MIDI stuff for us so we can retire our public domain MIDI clips. The words which accompany the first line of the main music as concocted by staffer: banana, banana, orange and lime. I've seen Newark, and your remarks are really out of line. Newark is just fine so long as you happen to be driving through a really fast car with bulletproof windows. TK Editor. All opinions expressed in this reply are those of the author alone and do not reflect the opinion of IE as an entity or anyone else for that matter. I'll do one more letter as the jester. Subject: great job, guys! Keep up the good work. I just got issue 7 and I hate to beat a dead horse. On second thought, that does sound kind of fun. But I have to agree with what the GD thread is saying, guys. I'd rather just watch the interview play out. As far as ads go, I'd rather see several ads than watch the subscription scene over and over. I've already subscribed. Enough of this criticism. Sorry, I see all those stinking complainers in each episode, and now I've sank to the depth as they. Anyway, keep them coming, says MM of AOL via internet. Dear TK, thrilled once again to get the latest CD, good flaming in the letters department. Ha! Sid Meier interview was excellent, but I think I have to agree with some of the speakers in the Genie thread. I'm never sure if I have seen all the responses. Is the interview set up in order to keep the segments as manageable chunks of video? Perhaps just a checklist of index questions would suffice. You know, questions like A1 to R6 with a checkbox beside each one on the screen near the picture box. Then everyone would know if they saw everything or missed one, just trying to help. Also, I bet subscribers would love to see a bio or list of credits for some of the people you interview. We don't all know as much as you people do about your excellent guests. They are extremely important figures in the history of e-games that should be and could be celebrated even more. Thank you for creating such a wonderful product each month. It's my favorite subscription to any periodical, says see us via CompuServe. You'd be glad to know, in response to the comments we've gotten on the interactive interview, we are making some changes in the interface, which should be implemented by episode 11. These should make it easier to navigate and solve some of the problems, like always running 3 red questions. Sorry, we're not ready to ditch the interactive format just yet. Some people still prefer it that way. The subject bio was a good idea, though, says TK Editor. All right. I think the jester has one more letter in him, so... Hi! Can I steal your graphics? Hi there, IE. I certainly hope that this gets to you guys. Although I am not sure if it will. I just wanted to compliment you, excuse me, on an excellent concept and a mostly excellent product. I've received my 4th, I think, copy of IE, and I'm constantly impressed. The reviews are enjoyable and informative. The previews have me drooling in anticipation, or not, and the demos are fun to watch. A few minor complaints, who doesn't have them? Shareware? Perhaps is it Shareware. On the self-promo that you guys do, it says all of the latest shareware. Perhaps I'm not clicking on the right button, but I haven't seen any shareware and ads. This may seem like an unusual complaint, but I want to see ads. It would be interesting to see home companies use this medium to promote their products. Have you considered going to some of the large non-computer related companies that sell them ad space, i.e. Coke, Pepsi, McDonald's, Playtex, etc.? And also a question. The BMP pictures that serve as the background for your stories make great Windows wallpapers. Just copy them into the Windows directory and voila. I was wondering if this is in fact legal or if I'm breaking some obscure copyright law. I hope not. Windows is much cooler with the 3 stormtroopers from Dark Forces looking at me. Thank you for the time and keep the great Macs coming, says SQ of Delphi via internet. P.S. Would it be a big problem to get some kind of acknowledgement to this note? I just would like to know if it was received or not. Thanks again. Yes, we got your note. And yes, for those of you who are curious, if you can send internet mail, you can reach our CompuServe account by sending mail to 74774,1625.com. We even look at it occasionally. Shareware, what we've run of it, is filed under install demos, perhaps not very aptly named, but that's where it is. You haven't seen much of it, mainly because we only want to run the very best quality stuff, and even then, if we don't have room for it, we can't run it. Using our materials is completely legal as long as you don't get caught. Aren't you glad I killed your email address? Seriously, what it boils down to is, no, it isn't strictly legal, but as long as the stuff never leaves your house, no posting the stuff to alt.binaries.ie, we aren't going to prosecute you. That's TK Editor. And folks, that is all of the Jester. I am going to use this opportunity to take a quick 30-second break. 1 second, folks. I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. Just had to do something real quick. I'm back, I know.
Pasta with all sorts of different sauces.
Oh, there's a credits page. Okay. Oh, okay. I tried to click through it and it wouldn't let me. Let's go to the article listing. Look at this. This is actually really nice. They mixed in everything together, so I just have to go through one thing. Okay. What's view? Oh, okay. No, I get you. Let's go back. Yeah, thank you for letting me just kind of flip through this because I'm very curious how they changed this. Where is the interview? Okay. Let's check out the interactive interview. Hey, is this the same one as last time? I think this might be. Okay, let's see.
Everything I do, once I have all the pieces, I just start writing.
Okay.
And I finish.
Oh, okay. I see how they're doing it this time. Sid, how do you design?
You
want
to give the player a series of interesting things to think about, interesting decisions to make. You want to examine a situation and say, what is fun about this situation? What's the part that the player is going to really want to focus on? What are the payoffs? What are the rewards of doing this? And then be sure to include all those things in the game. Avoid the boring parts. Edit out the grungy, dirty, boring parts of the game.
I want to know the grungy, dirty, boring parts of a Sid Meier's game.
Most of our games start with a massive amount of paper testing to see that this kind of, like Battles in Time, there was hundreds and hundreds of hours by many people in paper testing for two reasons: to see if we have a game, if it's so unique that nobody's done it, is there a game that's worth developing? And the second reason for that is to save the programmer his first few months of programming time.
I love this
rather
guy's
than
house
using
still.
the programming team as a guinea pig.
And I
which is,
like his
again,
like
fair to
relaxed
them.
stance. He's so chill. Where did you get the idea for the Pure War game?
Steve Magistro came
I
to
love
us
him. I'm sorry. That's
way,
just
way
how
back,
that's how I
and
stream.
He had this basic game with pretty terrific graphics, ground graphics, and no bells and whistles at all. But he had these scenarios built with everything under the sun in them, weather exactly as it happened then, and the forces where they were, where they landed. And it was just an excellent game, but it is a pure war game. It's for that hardcore war gamer. It's
He
not
does
for
look
the
like
general public.
Mythbusters.
It's a simple game to play. It's a pretty challenging game to try to win.
Why is there so much online help in Masters of Magic? Why? Why, Steve? Steve?
It's a 2 meg file just of online help. Anything which is referenced in the game that you can see, you right click on and it gives you a description. And that's important because I don't think people do read the manual.
Do you read the manual? Do your games change a lot during the development process?
It's not like we have a gigantic storyboard specification and we know from
All right,
day
sorry,
one exactly
Sid, I'm
what the
having
game is
another
gonna
sip
be
of the
like. It's very
soda.
much the opposite, that
Oh,
we
I
have a
don't know
general
if I
idea
want
where we're
this.
going, and we put something very crude together and start to play it and say, well, this is working, this is no fun, let's take it out. This could be fun if we added this to it.
Having a sip here. Sorry, everybody. Ugh. This is a tea that punishes you. It punishes you for drinking it. And the thing is, I've had things with mushrooms in it before, like adaptogen teas or whatever, that didn't taste like this. What did they do? This might be the first drink on stream that I'm not able to finish. It actually, I think, is hurting my tummy. Oh my God, I think it during intermission, I'm going to pour the tea out. It hurt my tummy. It is. If I'm doing a tier list of the drinks, these are at the way bottom. This is the absolute worst drink the problem is because it first, it starts off like this is fine. And then, the mushrooms are rocking too hard. They needed to put in more. It has stevia in it. And at this point, I would love to taste more stevia, but there's no, peach and cheese are not a flavor to, okay, here's what I'm drinking. Here, hold on. Let me show you. It's really bad. This is going to be my first don't drink it. If you see, I closed in on her horrible face. If you see Junie's sparkling tea with adaptogens and it's on sale at HEB and you're like, well, I like peach tea, I drink like a 0-calorie peach drink all the time, so it should be good. No, this is the hurting tea. This is the tea. It really does taste like cheese. I don't like it. Anyway, Sid, save me. What do you expect to change in game design in the future?
I think that what makes a good game will still be the same, and games will still be appealing, but there'll be many new ways of accessing games. First, the new 32-bit game machines, and then the whole information superhighway network, cable television, telephone, access to games in a much easier way that you can just, another channel on your television set will be the interactive game channel, and you don't have to buy a $2,000 computer and to play games. They're just available to you as easily as
Coconut, thank you for the sub.
You better get here on the double.
Never heard of Bolero. That's interesting. I haven't had poppy soda either, but I'm one of the I do like Olipop, but I only like one of their sodas. I only like their cream soda. All the rest of their sodas are not good, but their cream soda's all right. But I would rather have an Olipop than the Junie peach tea, which is very cheesy. How did you design the spell system in Master of Magic?
Played so many role-playing games, just cranked out the spells.
Shakespeare with the 100 bits to put toward a drink that's good.
I enjoy it,
yeah.
but again, it's just variety.
I'm literally moving the drink away from me.
Play with
there we
and
go.
combine how they
Get
want
out of
to.
here. Sorry, I have 2 other drinks with me, by the way, because I was like, in case this drink is bad, I need something to take the taste out of my mouth. So let me do that right now. And then I have another peach drink with me. I have the peach sparkling water, and it's good. Okay, we're good. Anyway, Sid, how do you choose your next product?
When we finish a game, we try and put out of our minds all thoughts of future games because they're just too distracting. And once we're kind of released from that imprisonment there, what I try and do is play with generally 2, 3, 4 ideas, and one of them, after a while, will start to develop its own momentum and kind of, be the most interesting one.
Okay. Steve, what games are you releasing in the near future?
1830 for Avalon Hill, and tentatively titled Mech Wars, which is a giant robot strategy.
Okay, giant robot strategy. Are you excited about adapting Avalon Hill's 1830?
It's what I consider almost a pinnacle of a good strategic board game, because everything is equal in balance, and there's a lot of options, but they're all nicely tuned, and that's the reason I like the game so much.
Okay. What is the idea behind Mech Wars?
You have basically the Empire, which is a series of these houses all combined, and they are currently expanding on the frontier, and you're a noble who's been put in charge of this expansion for your house, and you are trying to get as many planets as you can for your house so that you can become the Duke, get enough fame so that you can become the head of your house.
All right, I'm dropping the link of the good drink I'm drinking, which is the HEB sweetened sparkling water. It's really good. It is my favorite drink at HEB. It's also only 69 cents in store for a bottle. Oh my God, that's so much better. Oh, that's so much better. I have got to throw out that tea. Part of me is like, how dare you? How dare you have a tea that tastes this bad?
Well,
anyways, do you have any other pet projects?
We're building the Great American Wonder and Railway System, and what this is inside this complex will be a doll museum, but will be the world's largest model railroad.
Really?
Formerly the world's largest model railroad on another site, which is now, that took 81 men to run that system, and was open to the public 2 weekends a year, and the monies went to charity and so local charities. Now we're going into a commercial enterprise, and this railroad was 15 times the size of the old railroad.
Did the Great American Wonder actually happen?
We have mountains and valleys that represent between 3,000 and 3,500 foot mountains. There will be a little over 50,000 feet of track. You want to hear all these details? Okay. 50,000 feet of track, 200,000 to 300,000 pounds of hydrocal plaster to form the mountains and that type of thing. There will be 6,000 to 7,000 buildings in the railroad.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of Sid Meier's here, but I gotta know about the Great American Wonder.
When the full operation will be running between 100 and 125 trains simultaneously. Of course, it's a labyrinth of a tour. It would take the average person, once in operation, 2 to 3 hours to go through, and they won't see all 125 at one location, but they're all over the place. And some trains are 30 foot above the one way down at the bottom of the valley, from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. There will be several thousand bridges. Some of these bridges will be 18, 22 feet long, spanning 3,000 foot gorge, scale 3,000 foot gorge.
Sorry, I'm looking this up on Google, and it's like, Google's like, no, this never existed? What the fuck are you talking about? So I wonder if this ever came out. Chat, if you know about the Great American Wonder, let me know, because I found no info about this.
I like role-playing games. I don't believe that the role-playing games that we actually play on the computer are quite as good of a translation, from the paper to the computer as what the board games can be to the computer. It really loses a lot of the social aspect with the role-playing, but at least we can get the powers. You know, we can get all the things which, you know, a lot of
Northlands, that's what it is. It's in New Jersey. Okay. Okay, so it did happen. Yeah, that's kind of sick. The world's largest model railroad layout. Okay. I had no idea this actually existed. Okay. I kind of want to go. I've never heard of it. Anyway, Sid Meier, do you like to play your own games?
You've got to. I mean, you know, otherwise, I think it shows in the games whether the designer liked the game, was interested in the game, got excited about it, and games are still a lot of fun. I think they're the reasons computers were invented. So.
What makes a great game?
The elements of balance and choice. Those are the mark of a really great board game. And that can be used in a computer game as well.
How much do customer comments influence your game design?
We're trying to please the audience. We're trying to give them the games they want, not the games that we want to really do. And that's our approach. Give them as much of what they want as possible. And so we're trying to make everybody happy.
Do you look at the internet and bulletin boards?
That's really where we look initially is the boards, and those are where the more active gamers are, and we've gotten some really good reactions.
What is the premise of Battles in Time?
This 1,000 years from now, there is a very crude time machine that's been invented by man and scientists, and they can go back in time and to do whatever. And the higher ups of the world at this time know of really the history that did go on, even though the general populace doesn't know it. And so they take their most brilliant minds of the time, and it is their object to go back in time to fight these different battles, whether it's Napoleonic or Civil War or Roman or Stone Age with spears and stones, and refight these battles to learn tactics and strategy and also weaponry.
Do you ever look at other companies' games?
Like anything else, we have to look at what everybody does to make sure that, you know, we have similar interfaces or, you know, tricks as to, you know, how to convey the information to the people, because in the strategies, that's the hardest thing. You know, we have so much information. We have to be able to get it to the human player, but not bog them down. Mm-hmm. And that's a trick. Yeah. And that's where we have to look at how everybody else does it.
Bruce, do you look at other companies' games? Also, I will not be sharing this Junie adaptive tea with Danny or anyone else. This is literally, as soon as intermission hits, this is going right down the drain. This is the only drink I've ever had on stream that I'm like, nope, drain to you. You're getting drained. Anyways, what is the life of a game designer like?
Oh, incredible adventure and excitement.
Incredible adventure and excitement. Okay. Oh, the drink is usually like $3. I got it on sale for like $1, like less than $2, which is why I wanted to try it, because I'm like, oh, that's a good sale. I now know why it was on sale, because they're like, please God, somebody buy these disgusting looking drinks. Disgusting tasting drinks. They don't look disgusting. They taste disgusting though. How much do customer comments influence your game designs?
Well, we do get a ton of feedback on our products. It'll make us bend our thinking slightly here and there, but I think we have a good core of design, and we've got to do what we believe in.
Do your games change a lot through the development process?
It always evolves once it gets on the computer into something much different from the you see it one way on the paper version, and it doesn't quite make it to the computer that same way, because there's so many things involved. Battles of Time has changed significantly from the paper game, but it still has the basics of the paper game that we tested so heavily, and the basic premise and so forth. But that paper testing is very, very important.
Yeah, that's actually why I buy drinks on sale, because it's a good way to find hidden gems. And usually, at worst, it's at least drinkable if it tastes like ass. But this is tastes like ass. And literally, this is the first time I've ever had a tummy ache from one of these drinks. It's so, okay. I get to use my favorite image. Hold on. This is me after drinking the drink. My tummy is hurting. Why did I drink this? This was so stupid. Where did you get the idea for Masters of Magic?
Most of my thoughts on Mom were while I was sitting waiting for my computer to compile the code, Orion, and just kind of daydreaming, well, yeah, this would be pretty neat, and well, what if I had this, and what's this missing? And then once I had the structure, once, basically the bold lines were drawn, then I came in and filled it in as soon as I came back. After we finished with Orion, and it shipped, sat down 2 weeks, wrote it up, gave it to the programmers, and then we started on it almost immediately.
I don't have the thing is, I don't want to give it to Metal of Jesus because I don't want to make an enemy of anyone. I think maybe I should give this to my enemies. Ooh. I'm going to go to Westlake Hills and just start chucking these into billionaires' yards and see what happens. Anyways, how much did you copy Civilization and Masters of Magic? I thought we already did that question.
We're not trying to copy. Don't get me wrong, 'cause there's a lot of things that are very different in Master of Magic than what are like Civilization. In fact, the whole game itself, the gameplay is very different. Civilization focuses on internal problems, whereas Master of Magic is external, it's conquest. And that is a fundamentally different problem, and the game is different. It's just on the outside it might look look the same.
All right, give us a quick overview of colonization.
You go through a number of phases. First, you're interacting with the Indians at kind of a small scale level. As you grow larger, you start to interact with the other European powers that are also colonizing. And at the end, you have to get to a size where you can deal with your home country, which has like a large military force.
How do the difficulty levels change in Master of Orion?
You can just, on the easy levels, with no problem, play, do anything you want. Nobody's going to really stop you. You can kill anything you want or destroy any ships you want. But at the hardest levels, they're going to be doing it to you. And you become more defensive, and you have to come up with strategies.
What was the idea behind colonization?
We didn't want to do Civilization 2 or Civilization the Next Generation, or kind of do something that was too much like Civilization. But a lot of people like Civilization, a lot of people wanted more Civilization. So we wanted to kind of capture the essence, the basic style of gameplay of Civilization, but put it in a whole new context.
All right, and I think that's it for this strategy panel. Sorry, I'm just letting my stomach settle from that drink. Okay, so there is a Cybertruck driver, and I feel bad because there's a Cybertruck driver in the neighborhood, and I did take a picture of their Cybertruck and posted it, but I didn't know that it got a picture of his face, and people were mocking his face, and I felt bad because I don't want to put him on blast like that. I just thought his car was ugly as shit. Anyways, look at the main menu. What else we got? Let's go to the article listing. I like this. I like that it's just that they have everything from previews to reviews to everything all in one thing now. I think that's really nice. All right, let's start with 1830.
Fans of Railroad Tycoon who had any prior experience with board games may have noticed a slight resemblance between Sid Meier's creation and the Avalon Hill board game 1830. If you've wondered what kind of computer game 1830 would make, your wait is over. Courtesy of Avalon Hill and Syntex. The marriage between these two particular companies is a strange one to say the least. Syntex built its reputation with Master of Orion and Master of Magic, a pair of graphically appealing, complex strategy games. Avalon Hill has found a niche with complex war games that are heavy on gameplay and light on graphic appeal. In this instance, Avalon Hill's style set the tone, and the result is a game that is religiously faithful to the board game. In the board game, you are allowed to get in touch with your inner greedy person, since ruining your competitors financially was just as effective as building a better railroad.
I've never played Railroad Tycoon. I guess I should play it.
In 1830 in the
also, I adjusted the audio. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet.
Private companies that will provide you with additional revenue. Then you move into another round of stock purchases that will allow you to gain control of one of 8 available operating railroads. The stock round is where you determine whether or not you have what it takes to become a true robber baron. Once you gain the majority of shares in a particular railroad, you control it. However, purchasing a minority stake can also prove to be a great idea.
A-Train's
since dumping those shares
hard.
onto the market later in the game can force one of your competitors to start operating a railroad that he doesn't want anything to do with. The value of your shares is based on the frequency of dividend payments and by their demand in the marketplace. If you pay a dividend, the value of a railroad's shares rises. If you don't, they fall. Each time a railroad share is sold, the value falls. If there is no stock available in a railroad at the end of a stock round, the value of the share increases. Thankfully, the operating rounds are a little easier to understand.
I guess I should
Each
do
railroad
open
gets a chance to lay new
TTD.
track,
That sounds
build
fun.
stations, run its trains, and purchase new trains. At the start of the game, players alternate between rounds, but as 1830 progresses, you'll spend more time running your trains and less time making financial decisions. You start the game with trains that can only stop twice on each run, then gradually work your way up to diesels, which can stop as often as you want them to. Your route design is an important part of the game since it determines your revenue.
Come? Never mind.
Establishing
It's a
stations is
train
also
thing.
key
I
to
just
doing
want to
well,
understand.
since you can't run a route past a city whose station is controlled by a competing railroad. Avalon Hill has a large stockpile of board games, and it's good to see the company bringing out the better ones in an electronic format. It's even better to see that Avalon Hill is working with such proven developers as Simtex. 1830 isn't a visually stunning product.
You live
but
your
it's as good
pathetic life as a
the board game
hobo.
it's based on, and that's good enough to satisfy most strategy
You live
fans.
your pathetic life as a hobo. What the fuck?
Fans of railroads.
Chat. Aw, it doesn't have pros and cons, but what should we also try? Railroad Tycoon, A-Train, and Transport Tycoon. Okay. Fifth Fleet.
You know, I'm starting to worry about the folks at Avalon Hill.
What's
You
the matter?
live
Are
your
you
pathetic
concerned that the
life as
stock
a
of board games
hobo.
that they're basing their computer
Oh,
games
and
on
thank
is
you,
going to run
Felt Temp
out before the end
Reparatio,
of
for
the
gifting
21st
a
century?
sub
No,
to
that's not
Links
it at all.
Winters.
I'm
Thank
worried
you.
that all the other
Thank you so
computer
much.
companies are going to shun them because they keep insisting on producing games that are easy to understand and play. The latest example of this revolutionary approach towards game design is Fifth Fleet, a strategy game of modern naval combat that Avalon Hill designed in conjunction with Stanley Associates, a Washington, D.C.-based consulting firm that's done business with all the branches of the armed forces. The opening is sort
I
of
like the
flashy,
music.
a missile launch that lands on the horizon with all the appropriate sound effects, but the actual game itself is a lean, mean fighting machine.
Based on an old Victory Games board game, yes, Victory Games was a subsidiary of Avalon Hill. Fifth Fleet is built around 11 scenarios. Most of the smaller ones are in the neighborhood of the Persian Gulf.
Yeah, it's easy to
while
understand.
The
Don't
biggest
you get
scenario
it?
revolves around the Indian Ocean War.
This game is turn-based, and you won't find yourself in front of your computer for a week finishing a scenario. The shortest is 9 turns, and the longest is 30. The scenarios are rated by their difficulty, and you can also adjust the computer AI level.
I thought the variety of scenarios worked well, but I'm surprised that a scenario editor wasn't included with the game. While we know that Avalon Hill doesn't go for frills, an editor has become pretty much a standard feature in games of this type, and it's something that the company should consider making available through an add-on disc.
Fifth Fleet's main menu also includes a tactical reference screen. This is functional, but boring.
That's a nice way of putting it. Black and white pictures in a modern naval combat game?
If you're a naval historian seeking detailed information
We
on
need a
these
list
ships,
of games
you'll
to
need
let you
look
live your
elsewhere.
pathetic life
Most
as a
of the information
hobo.
included here deals with gameplay, including an extensive list of game values for attack, defense, and logistics. All of your surface ships, subs, and aircraft are listed here, and the database is extremely easy to use.
You can say the same about the game's interface, which will take a veteran gamer about 30 seconds to learn, and a novice maybe twice as long. Like the board game, subs, aircraft carriers, and bases are hard to eliminate. Since many of the scenarios require you to destroy bases, Fifth Fleet isn't easy. However, the scenarios are well balanced. Fifth Fleet also includes an email option, which allows you to expand your pool of
Email?
enemies.
In what I think is a very nice touch,
Email.
you get to reap the rewards of the designer's statistical analysis whenever you launch an attack. You see damage or kill probabilities whenever you select a target. As you bring more weapons to bear on the target, you can see the probability climb.
Realism also reigns supreme in the area of logistics. Keep a close eye on your ammo and fuel when you're playing Fifth Fleet, because you have a limited supply of both.
One unrealistic aspect of this game occurs during the enemy's turn. The screen goes blank and you can't keep track of your opponent's movement. If you've detected an
Man,
enemy,
I need to
you
finish
should be able
Yakuza
to keep
7.
track of it
I
while it's
loved
moving.
that game.
If you're the type of
I'm at
person
the
who needs
part
to be
where I have to
visually
grind for the
entertained while you're
tower,
playing a
and I
game,
just gave
Fifth
up.
Fleet
I need to
probably
go
won't
back.
appeal to you.
However, if you're one of them radical traditional types who think computer games should be realistic and challenging, pick up Fifth Fleet. There aren't many frills, but neither are there many mistakes.
Okay, not a lot of thrills, but not a lot of mistakes. Excuse me? Okay, don't worry about that. No worries. Anyways, pros and cons time, baby.
Fifth Fleet is easy to use and understand. There are 11 different scenarios to play with a wide variety of difficulty levels. You can also dummy up or dummy down your computer opponent by adjusting the AI level.
No idea where you should start with Yakuza. I really like 7, and I am going to finish 7, but like I've played a little bit of some of the other ones and I liked them. But 7 is great. 7 is my favorite, but I'm also like I really like the RPG style fighting. Anyways, the cons.
Scenario editors have become a basic staple of war games. Fifth Fleet doesn't have one, which is a glaring omission. It's also unfortunate that you lose track of enemy units you've detected during your enemy's turn.
Yeah, okay. But what should we try? Great naval battles, got it. Grandest Fleet, got it. Jutland, got it. Sorry, I can't stop thinking about Northlands and that guy's huge train setup. All right, Alone in the Dark 3 is battle bugs. I am so fucking sick of battle bugs. Okay, I'm fine. It's time for Alone in the Dark 3.
Bonjour, my friends. The good people at Emotion have supplied us with this earliest copy of Alone in the Dark 3 that they could manage.
And it's very, very French.
It's so French that we here at Interactive Entertainment have donned our berets and put rich sauces on all our food so that we might begin to understand the culture and truly review this game.
C'est incroyable. C'est magnifique. C'est français. Now, before we get too French, we should explain about Edward Carnby for the people who have never played the other Alone in the Dark games.
Why? Let him dangle.
No, it won't take too long. Edward Carnby is a detective of the supernatural with the most chiseled jaw you've ever seen. He beats up various green zombies, solves puzzles, and basically saves the world.
And he looks great too.
Those French in there. Disgusting sauces!
Are still around in the third installment, which takes place in the very Wild West.
Well, partner, this here game takes place in the dusty old ghost town of Slaughter Gulch.
And there ain't never been a ghost town with so many ghosts. Around these parts, folks just don't know how to die proper.
And along comes this Kirby character trying to take care of business, and danged if he don't get caught up in the whole mess like a jackanape.
Well, what do you mean, jackanape? What the heck is that?
Well, I don't rightly know. I think it's time to be French again.
Ah, mais oui.
This intriguing Carnby. He is truly
I
the
think
man
it's time
of the
to be French again.
Oui, as comfortable with their martial arts as with their really big guns.
And this suave ladies man as well.
Ah, but he cannot keep himself from being tied down.
Boy, you do that too long and it makes your nose itch.
The visual style of Alone 3 has advanced a lot from Alone 2 thanks to these gorgeous hand-drawn backgrounds by Joel Mouclier.
Ah, Monsieur Mouclair.
C'est fantastique.
Hey, my nose itches.
There is one drawback to this lush detailing. The designers didn't work hard enough to mesh it properly with the characters. When Carnby stands at this end of the balcony, everything's fine. But when he walks to this end, the railing almost touches his head. This kind of graphic inconsistency is fairly common here, I'm sorry to say.
But what if they meant it to be that way? What if the weird energy that surrounds Slaughter Gulch also messes with the physics of the place?
Tell the truth now. You had to stretch for that one, didn't you?
Okay, occasionally there is a problem with the different elements matching up, but that's a small price to pay for all the many times when it works beautifully.
The same keyboard interface from the prequels is still working well. You call up this menu and choose an object to use or an activity like searching or fighting.
I understand this is the last gasp for this particular engine. The next part of the series will have a fully revamped system. Hopefully they will solve the problem of not being able to choose the camera angle.
Yeah, one of the most annoying things in this series is getting trapped in a corner that's obscured by a cabinet or something and getting the murd kicked out of you by something you can't even see.
In keeping with the current trends, it looks like Alone 3 is going to be a CD-ROM only release.
While that's a bummer if you don't have a CD-ROM drive, that obviously won't be a problem if you're listening to us now.
iMotion took advantage of this extra space by including digitized speech and some great CD audio music and sound.
At last, Carnby speaks. Of course, on our copy, he speaks in French.
Yeah, I wonder who they're
By the
who's
time
going to do
you're
the
hearing
French
this, it will
accent
be
for this
quite easy
review.
to enjoy this latest chapter of the Carnby saga.
Thank you, Sheriff
in good
Ram, for the
old
3-month
American
resub.
English.
Appreciate
And if you
it.
like
Thank
the first
you.
2 games, chances are that this one will please you even more. Of course, if you've never heard of the darn thing, you might still have a good time. Especially if you keep talking like this.
Oh regarde, le chat très vicieuse, avec.
All right. The pros of you playing the French version of this game?
As with the previous installments, Alone 3 is a great combination of action and tricky puzzles. The CD-ROM only product allows room for CD audio
Proxy!
music
10-month
and
resub,
digitized
thank you.
speech.
This
Most
is
atmospheric of the
Entertainment
series yet.
Interactive. It is. Excuse me? Okay, what are the cons?
While the ornate backgrounds by Joel Mouclier add a marvelous sense of texture to the game, the characters do not always mesh with their surroundings. This aspect needed a lot more tweaking.
All right, what should we also try? The other Alone in the Darks? Okay, fair enough. Ecstatica. And Relentless. What is Ecstatica, by the way? Battle Bugs. It's more hints and tips for your fucking face with Battle Bugs. More Battle Bugs. Here's
Who's
your
Guarding the
fucking
Food gave
Battle
me a ton
Bugs.
of trouble at first, but it's not as impossible as it looks. The trick is to send your flea to the eclair in the west. Make sure you design your own path so that the flea can get there quickly.
Another
Plot your
orb-based
path to the
adventure
ant
game?
So that it
Okay.
ends as close to the M&Ms as possible, but before you leave, launch a poison bomb at the grasshopper to slow him down. Wait until both the mantis and the grasshopper get together at the bottom of the M&Ms, and then let them have it with all of your bombs and your one remaining stink bomb. It should take just one hit with a rock to finish off the mantis. Then send the ant to help your flea polish off the last of the enemy. Who's guarding the
No, we're not doing that again. Counterattack.
In counterattack, you outnumber the enemy, but they have more powerful bugs. The first thing you should do is nail the enemy bee with your rocket, then get him with both your
Nail
mosquitoes.
the enemy.
Be
Got
careful,
it.
though, because if your mosquitoes get there too soon, they too will be blown to bits by the explosion. After your ant has launched his rocket, he should go a little to the left and launch his cheese. This will slow down the
I
enemies
got
on
some
the left
cheese to
and give you a
launch. It's
chance
in
to
T
gang up on
form.
the jumping spider.
Yeah, peace in our time. No more battle ants.
The secret to completing Hold the Fries is keeping your commander alive and nuking the enemy commander. The first thing you should do is send one of your assassin bugs to nail the enemy commander in the upper right-hand corner. Then pick up your 2 bugs holding bombs with your 2 moths and transport them to the top of the fries. This will give you better range. You should try and time it so that when you nuke the left-hand commander, you also get the praying mantises. Don't forget to defend your commander at all costs.
A just and honorable pizza.
In this mission, it's essential to keep your ants with your commander. A good plan of attack is for your boatman to pick up your assassins.
I was going to say, this is for all you battle ants freaks out there.
While you do that,
this is the third issue featuring battle ants strategies.
Have the ants attacking anything that gets near your commander. Don't forget, the boatmen can be formidable fighters.
All right. Whack-a-bug.
In Whack-a-Bug, your assassin bugs are crucial. You must pick 2 of them up with your moths and then haul butt to the edge of the roll. You might also send all of your water bugs up there, but the moths will beat them there. Then send your rhinoceros beetle and your last assassin bug up and around the liquid. The bee might start to attack one of your assassin bugs, but if you whack him with the other assassin bug, he's as good as dead.
All right. Waterbugged.
Waterbugged is just a mass fighting fest. Unfortunately, your forces are split in 2 by water. You must ferry your bugs across as quickly as possible. Note that it is very important to get the ant with the bugs across. Other than that, with your bees and your explosives, you should be able to slaughter the enemy.
My bees and my
given that you can
explosives.
keep your commander in good health. This is a mission where you have to do a lot of work getting your bugs over, so don't slack off or you'll regret it.
All right, next up, say your prayers.
For this stage in the game, Say Your Prayers is an extremely simple mission. All you really need to do is take your ant, launch his cheeses in a way that the enemy praying mantises have to walk through them, and then kick some butt. Just remember to swarm and attack one thing at a time, and you should be all set.
Waiting for Rhino.
In waiting for Rhino, you're obviously outnumbered. Your 4 ants may have rocks, but they certainly don't have enough. The first thing to do is send your rhinoceros beetle on his way. Then you must send 1 ant down and around the chips. It's very important that this ant connect with all of his rocks while still getting off the bag of chips.
I guess I gotta play
The rest
Battle
of your
Bugs,
ants should
don't
just
I?
sit tight and pummel the onslaught of enemy ants with their rocks. You should position your lone ant on the far side of the bag. That way, when the rest of your ants are dead, it'll take a while for the enemy ants to get to you. You're just close enough not to let their flag go up. By the time they get to you, your rhinoceros beetle should arrive to kick some butt.
All right. Give me to the olive on time.
The first thing you should
Okay.
do in Get Me to the Olive on Time is to send your jumping spider towards the piece of bread.
Got it,
Don't
jumping
forget,
spider.
You can't just be standing on the bread, you have to be beside it.
Okay.
Then send the rest of your bugs via the waterways. Make sure you make your own path for them. That way they'll travel faster. You also want to pick up your explosives ant with your closest boatman.
Good
If you
must.
can blast the enemy when
Whitney
they're in a bunch, it'll
Housefly,
make things
fuck
much easier
off.
for you.
Rec room.
The Wrecking Room is a giant slugfest. All you need to do is keep your
Slugfest.
medics alive and well. There are a few other important details. Make sure your ant gets to unload his goodies on a worthy enemy bug, like a rhinoceros beetle, and keep your praying mantises together in a bunch so they can devour anything that runs into them. Congregate your forces around the near donut and send your moths after the enemy moths.
Yeah,
making sure to
I
attack
see
them
2
one at a
bugs here,
time.
but they're very little bugs. Who's guarding the food?
Who's guarding the food gave me a ton of trouble at first, but it's not as impossible as it looks. The trick is to send your flea to the eclair in the west. Make sure you design your own path so that the flea can get there quickly. Plot your path for the ant so that it ends as close to the M&Ms as possible, but before you leave, launch a poison bomb at the grasshopper to slow him down. Wait until both the mantis and the grasshopper get together at the bottom of the M&Ms, and then let them have it with all of your bombs and your one remaining stink bomb. It should take just 1 hit with a rock to finish off the mantis. Then send the ant to help your flea polish off the last of the enemy.
Did we do this one?
In counterattack, you outnumber the enemy, but
Yeah,
they
I
have
think
more
we've done this
powerful
one.
bugs.
Okay, I think that's all of them. All right, next up, Brain Dead 13. Classic.
If you're considering a career in the field of computer repair, it might be a good idea to play a few games of Brain Dead 13 first. This animated adventure from ReadySoft will give you a creepy hint as to just how bad the job can get. House calls at all hours of the day and night, being stalked by green gnomes with hooks for hands, having to outmaneuver enormous disembodied brains, that sort of thing. Meet Lance, computer repairman extraordinaire. Sort
Very
of an
cool.
unlikely candidate for major heroics, isn't he? I mean, isn't there some kind of rule about hair length? He thinks he's just here for a typical house call, but he probably should have caught on that things were going to be a little different just by looking at
I
the
wish
house
this
involved.
game was good.
Sure enough, this is no simple call about getting QuickTime to run. Lance
This is a
soon
sexy
thrown into
vampire
serious
babe
personal
game,
danger
yes.
from this cute little fella. His name is Fritz, and the hooks on his hands can just as easily be replaced by machetes, chainsaws, corkscrews, and the ever-popular cannon model. This is the brain behind the whole operation, so to speak. Dr. Nero Neurosis. He only wants what most giant disembodied brains want, to tap into the World Computer Network and take it over. Is that too much to ask? Personally, I think it's remarkable the way the good doctor has managed to overcome a rather serious physical handicap. How inspirational. If the style is starting to look familiar, keep in mind that this product is from ReadySoft, the people who resurrected Dragon's Lair and Space Ace from Arcade Limbo. This is the first time that the company has tried to create their own variation on this kind of game. Dave Quinnell, the producer and director of Brain Dead 13, is a veteran of the Don Bluth Studios, where those other 2 games were created. Brain Dead 13 is just the beginning for ReadySoft. Having assembled a team of over 30 animators, animation assistants, layout artists, location renderers, background painters, foreground character painters, and sound people, they're determined to take interactive media by storm.
And sound
Brainstorm,
people?
that is. Keep an open mind when Brain Dead 13 hits the shelves this spring.
I tried, and I didn't like it. What else should we try, folks? Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace. Thanks. Love it. All right, Central Intelligence.
Ocean recently released a new CD-ROM game called Central Intelligence, which requires you to lead an undercover military operation to remove a recently installed military junta from power in the fictional country of Sal Madrigal. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to play this game and review it for IE.
I've thought it over and decided I should decline.
Yeah, what
the
about
mission.
Super Don Quixote?
That's not really an option. I may have said, should you choose to accept it, but I didn't really mean it. You have to review this game.
Well, I've played Central Intelligence, so I suppose I can tell you about it, but I'm warning you. Prolonged exposure to this thing is a violation of the Geneva Convention. To sum up, the ultimate goal of your undercover operation is to restore the country's former democratic leader to power. You're in charge of 3 specialists: military, political, and propaganda. Each of your specialists is running 8 undercover agents. Since the present political situation won't allow you to recreate Grenada and simply send the army in to overrun the country, you must give the country's opposition covert support that hopefully will lead to the ousting
I'm
of the
sad that
evil
Fritz
dictator.
wasn't in anything
Well, that
else.
sounds like a
Bring
great
back
idea for a game,
Fritz.
but I'm guessing from your attempt to cut out of here midway through the first caption that you felt there were some flaws.
Actually, calling Central Intelligence's problems flaws is a little like saying there were some flaws in the Bay of Pigs invasion plan. You do remember the Bay of Pigs, don't you?
Yeah, I read about it in a history book. Now stop showing off and review the game.
You asked for it. The first mistake the designers made was making this game play in real time. You're in charge of 3 specialists and 24 agents, all scattered around the island, gathering intelligence, blowing up buildings, and spreading rumors. You're supposed to keep track of this while the clock is ticking, and while
I
you
don't
can
even
slow
know
the
what I'm
speed
looking
down,
at either.
I think
It's
Turn
just
sort of
like,
added some badly needed
do you want to do a
structure.
coup in another
These
country? And I'm
27
like,
hardy
no.
spies are supposed to
I
help you
don't,
keep
not
track of
really.
rebel forces, student
I
sympathizers,
got enough going on
government
in
officials,
America.
local workers, and political prisoners scattered around the island. According to the manual, there are 1,360 characters in this game.
That must be some manual,
That's
huh?
too many
Would you believe
characters.
a whopping
Okay,
28
maybe
pages
I
in
nuked
large
Sweden,
type with
okay?
lots of
But
graphics?
like, I
assume
had
I've
good
led you to another
reason.
flaw. A little more
They wouldn't
information
go
would have been
nuclear.
nice. Central Intelligence has a tutorial, but it deals strictly with
All
the
I'm
interface
saying,
and has
nuclear
nothing to do with
Canada.
strategy. Since there are no campaigns or scenarios, you have no clear path to follow. You know your final goal, but you have to wade your way through 1,360 characters to achieve it, without any help from the designers. Is there anything you liked about this game?
Yeah, there were 1 or 2 things, but I'm not finished whining yet. The incessant flipping that's presently taking place on our viewer's screen is the number of menus you must cycle through in order to select an agent and send him out on a mission to spy on a particular town. In this example, starting from the main menu, I had to click my mouse button 12 times. Multiply that by 27 agents and you have a head start on a migraine for the ages. Even the good points of this game have flaws. If you need to go to a specific city, you easily find it by going to these 3 icons. You view the city from above, and you can zoom in and out.
That's something you actually liked?
Yes, but I got over it in a hurry. Unfortunately, this attribute is marred by the fact that you can only target specific structures in the close-up window. In a large city, this means you get to do some
Cool,
more
I can-
random
I can-
mouse
we
clicking
can
while you
target
search for a
churches.
particular building.
Can we
I do
bomb
have
them?
one unqualified
I
piece
don't
of
want to
praise
bomb
for
a
Central
church, but this
Intelligence.
seems like a
This
game where you would
stores
bomb
very
churches, you
little
know what
on
I
your
mean?
hard drive and plays directly from your CD. This is notable, given the recent industry trend of treating CDs simply as shiny storage disks with lots of space.
That's the best thing you can come up with? You liked the storage format?
Yep, I'm afraid so.
Does the phrase, damn with faint praise, mean anything to you?
Look, I'm painfully aware that Ocean won't be using
just
this
seemed like
review in
another
their
sad
ads for
case
Central
of
Intelligence,
people
but
killing
it's the
each
best I
other.
can
That's what I
do.
feel about all military
There might be an
games.
interesting game buried somewhere in this mess, but the designers never gave me a reason to hang around long enough to find out. If someone tries to make you buy Central Intelligence, my advice would be to head to the nearest border and defect.
Okay. Defect rather than play Central Intelligence. You don't have to tell me that twice. Pros.
Central Intelligence is an oddity, a CD-ROM game that actually plays from your CD drive. Very little is stored on your hard drive, which means you're playing about 2 minutes after you've opened the box.
And the cons?
You're in charge of 27 spies who are supposed to interact with 1,360 different characters on the island. And Central Intelligence's designers want you to figure it out on your own. There's no structure to this game, which badly needs some scenarios or campaigns to give the player a vague idea of what they need to do to win.
And we should also try Covert Action, Conspiracy, and KGB. I also think you should try, what is that? Shadow President. I think Shadow President does it really well. But then again, Shadow President let me nuke Sweden, so. Colonization.
If you're coming back for more colonization hints, you must be hooked. By now, I hope you've at least completed your first game, win or lose. If you're already mashing the computer AI on the hardest settings, then you probably don't need this information. But if you haven't achieved a colonization
I'm not
score of
mashing
100%,
people.
you might find a bit of useful advice. Remember that your main goal is to win the revolution and max out your score. All of your actions should lead to this end. To maximize production, you must master the colonist shuffle. If you run out of lumber for building,
I'm not
don't
here
let
to
your
cause any
carpenters sit
trouble.
on their
I'm just
duffs.
here to do the
Set them
colonist
to work
shuffle.
on something else. The same goes once you have towns specialized in manufacturing. When you run out of tobacco, don't let your tobacconist sit idle. Make him work on something else while you wait for your next wagon train to arrive. Your cities need to specialize. Don't waste resources building everything in each. If you have to wonder what to build next, the answer is artillery. In the meantime, specialization is the key. One city should have an ironworks and all the master blacksmiths. Another city should have the arsenal for musket production. Try to build your one custom house in the same city that has upgraded production like the cigar factory, textile mill, rum factory, and fur factory. Lumber production
force
can
people
be
to
centered
make
in
cigars.
one city.
That's cool.
However, lumberjacks, along with carpenters, are often best used by equally distributing them among your cities. Place 1 to 3 carpenters in each megacity and 1 expert lumberjack. As you clear surrounding forests for farming, you'll build up a lumber surplus. Ore is another natural commodity that is sacred because it makes tools for your muskets, artillery, and building. Again, specialization is the way to go because best ore gathering sites are in the mountains. Send in the miners! Horses and horse sense are the last 2 specialty areas. One city should maximize its food production, which increases horse breeding speed. Don't forget large warehouses to store your horses. The more there are, the
So
faster
I just
they
store
multiply.
my horses in a
As you fill
warehouse?
the stables, send off only 100 at a time. To give your population
Shouldn't you
horse
keep them in a
sense,
fucking
you'll need
barn?
at least 1 university town.
I know nothing
Taxes
of
are something
horses.
else you have to deal with. Of 2 possible policies
look at
you can
this,
adopt, the first choice is to just keep
Why
kissing
don't
the
you
pinky
kiss
ring.
my
This
pinky
will cause your
ring?
taxes to increase and the king's expeditionary force to grow. However, you'll still be able to trade in any commodity
my
and you
pinky
won't lose
ring.
supplies. Or you can just throw away the supplies that you worked so hard to save. This plan will keep your taxes low, and if you can manage to trade other commodities, you will make more money. Later in the game, have Jacob Fugger join your Continental Congress, and all of the trade restrictions will be reversed. Don't forget that paying outrageously high taxes is stupid. Dump the tea into the harbor first. Shipping and naval power are an important aspect of the game, though they play a key role only before you declare independence. Cargo ships are a waste, and I recommend that you don't spend time or money on them.
Done.
When you
Fuck
have
cargo
money for
ships.
ships, you should build privateers and frigates. If Francis Drake has joined your Continental Congress, then the strength of the privateers is increased 50%, making these ships can be fast, deadly, and inexpensive. Use your ships to pick up new colonists from Europe. 1 privateer should be used for exploration.
Anyone want to go
This
to
vessel
oppress
should
people
carry
in
at
another
least a scout and
country?
possibly even a dragoon. The rest of your privateers you build should be out hunting. A cargo of 200 muskets is worth a lot and it hinders the competition. Frigates give you more power, and if your sea battles seem profitable, then a few may be worth it, but don't spend too much on them. Once you declare independence, ships are nearly useless. You'll get all of your man-of-war ships free from your allies. You should categorize your cities into one of a few groups.
Yeah, die,
the first
fucker.
is the megacity, of which you'll want about 6. These are specialized and extremely well defended. That means fortress level and at least 5 pieces of artillery. Then there are the supply or feeder cities. These are small. And you never
Feeder
build them up so
cities,
that you
ooh
can
la
eventually
la.
abandon them without feeling bad. Their key is to supply raw materials like cotton or tobacco. Last are the cities that you have captured. When you abandon these cities, you make the colonists leave as pioneers to take the tools with them, or as soldiers and dragoons to take the muskets and horses with them. So what should you do with all those Native Americans whose land you're planning to take away? It's in your best interest to treat them nicely. If the Indians are friendly to you, they will not attack you, which means that you do not start building a stockade the day you arrive in the New World. They'll also trade with you, which can be very
one of the
profitable
people
and
went
lowers Indian
extinct.
alarm levels. Remember that they never take the same trade goods twice in a row.
They went
It's easy
extinct.
to see how
Are we
the
gonna
Indians
talk
feel
about
about
the
your
tribe
presence
that
by the
we
color
made
of
go
the exclamation
extinct?
point on their villages.
I don't
Each
want
of
to
the
do
8 tribes
that.
has a tendency to act
In
slightly
general.
differently and to have a different level of technical development. This means that they may want different types of goods. The natives also have skills that they can teach your free colonists that will help you in procurement of natural resources, including food. Make peace with the Indians, trade with them, build far away
Do
from
I make them
live
go
with them,
extinct?
send missionaries to their villages, give them food if they ask, and if they ask for stuff that is too expensive, then man the stockade.
All right, that's colonization for all you colonization freaks. Conquered kingdoms.
This month's free game is Conquered Kingdoms, an early release from QQP.
Except for its EGA graphics, this strategy game of castles and conquest has held up well since its release 2 years ago. The object of the game is to accumulate more victory points than your opponent in the allotted time span.
Okay.
To begin with, choose View Royalty from the main menu. This takes you to a screen where you can create a new player. Click on Create Player, choose a name for yourself, and hit Enter. Make sure your name is highlighted, then exit the menu.
Yeah,
Next, start a new game.
Interactive Entertainment came with a bunch of shareware and free
Just showing you
games.
the ropes here, choose Single Battle. Cascadia is a campaign game and is a bit more complicated. At the roundtable screen, you must choose a map. You can pick from fixed maps numbered 1 through 9 or choose a random map. We'll pick map number 5, the Scent of War, since it's one of the smallest maps and shortest scenarios. Click Start Game to bypass the fireplace screen. There's nothing you want to mess with there just yet. First thing first, pick starting cities. You can choose any 3 of the cities highlighted in blue. You should choose a combination of cities in good locations and cities with high point values.
Grinch!
Every turn one of your units occupies 1 square of a city, and there are no enemy units occupying that city, you get a number of victory points equal to the city's value.
Anybody, what's the rent like in
Will give you a
Grinch?
head start on winning in the long run. Now you need to deploy
It's like,
your
how much
troops.
is a 2-bedroom,
For your first
2-bath
few
in
games, Try to
Grinch?
stick with human units, then learn the strengths and weaknesses of the magical units once you've mastered the basics. Consult the manual for good descriptions of the different units and their capabilities. For now, make sure each city has at least 1 swordsman, 1 or 2 catapults, several archers, a few knights, and as many cavalry as you can afford. After you've deployed all your starting forces, it's time to act. To move a unit, simply left-click on the square where you want it to go. Units can pass through squares containing 2 friendly units, but cannot end their turns there. To select another unit to move, simply right-click it. To keep a unit from moving, you can put it on sentry. A unit on sentry will not prompt you to move it until an enemy comes within 3 squares, or, if it is sitting on a resource... until that
Live
resource
from
becomes yours
Grinch,
permanently. If you simply want to
England.
skip a
It's
unit for a
Alex.
turn,
God,
click on
Grinch,
Stop
huh?
Move. The first thing you should do
Just
is
living
take
in
any
Grinch.
nearby unoccupied
Living in
castles.
Grinch.
If you placed your cavalry well, you
Living
can
that Grinch
usually get a
life.
unit into a castle or 2 your first turn. Again, castles are worth lots of victory points, so take as many as possible as soon as possible.
Okay.
You should also occupy any nearby resource squares. If one of your units stays in the same square as a resource for 3 full turns, it becomes yours permanently. You can check the status of a resource by right-clicking on it. At the end of your turn, any necessary combat is resolved. For pieces occupying the same squares, just click through them. For ranged attacks, click on the opponent you wish to target. The numbers superimposed on the target indicate the number of hits you will inflict and the number of hits your foe has remaining. Once you have at least 1 castle and are producing some resources, you'll get a production screen at the end of your turn. Here, you turn those hard-won resources into new units. You can buy a unit with just gold, or with a combination of gold, coal, and wood. Units you can afford are lettered in green. Click on the payment method of choice to buy a unit. On your next turn, you'll be given an opportunity to place the new unit in one of your castles.
I like the dragon.
And that's it.
Oh, there he goes.
Simple, right? Of course, there are 20 more levels to the AI, 8 more maps, not to mention the campaign game. For additional information, consult the manual, which may be found in the manual directory of your CD.
All right, and that's Conquered Kingdom. So what's Creature Shock? So how many more of these we have? This isn't so bad. All right, I'm going to do Creature Shock and Crime Patrol, and then after I do those 2, I'm going to take a quick 10-minute break, but let's do those first. Creature Shock!
I just tried Creature Shock, and frankly, I just don't get it. Is this supposed to be fun?
Presumably.
You play a lot more action games than I do. What do you think?
If Creature Shock were a living organism, I'd put it to a slow and agonizing death.
Cool!
It's rare for me to actually hate a game, but that's about the only socially
me and this
acceptable word
tea.
for how I feel about this shameful waste of space.
Creature Shock's premise is nothing more than the standard disposable dribble. Overpopulation has
Standard
forced
disposable
mankind
dribble.
to seek other quarters. The spaceship Amazon is launched to search the solar system for a viable site for a colony.
When it approaches the moons of Saturn, the Amazon is attacked and destroyed by a huge alien presence. Now it's up to you to board the alien ship and kill everything. If there were any more original, you might actually have to think.
Creature Shock's opening animation is actually very good, didn't you think?
Yeah, I did. The animation is very smooth, and the human character is very lifelike. I wish they'd stuck with what they could do well and made this turkey a movie instead of a half-baked attempt at a game.
What knocked me out were the captain's realistic facial expressions. Then the game started, and I almost fell asleep.
From the impressive intro, Creature Shock jumps into one of the most shameful game sequences I've ever experienced. As you fly towards the alien ship, you must fight off hordes of nasties. You play with a mouse, and the up and down controls are flipped like in a flight sim.
With that control scheme, the game is almost impossible to control. It's so counterintuitive it boggles my mind. I can't believe anyone actually playtested this part of the game. Could anyone
Hey, Gert,
actually
yeah,
enjoy
hordes of
this?
nasties,
If they do, they
huh?
obviously have severe emotional disturbances and should be locked away from society.
Okay.
Once you land on the spaceship,
If you're masochistic enough to stick with this worthless game that long.
you
Jesus
go on to a
Christ,
simple
he hates
shootout.
Creature
The
Shock.
game area is about 1.5 screens wide, so you'll scroll back and forth and shoot the aliens. Oh,
It's like playing a shooting gallery game where the targets barely move and occasionally shoot back. When I played it, I just kept asking myself, why?
After that, you get to explore
I don't like that.
the
That
alien
looks
ship
bad.
by clicking on movement paths with the mouse. When an alien is near, you stop moving and fight it by aiming with the mouse cursor and shooting.
This is as fun as the game gets, which is saying next to nothing. You can block attacks by activating a shield with the right mouse button, and that's it. You only get to fire about 1 shot per second. It's bad.
The aliens are very nice looking, but the graphic amenities can't hide the fact that there simply isn't a fun or interesting game to be found anywhere on Creature Shock's 2 CDs. It's utterly boring.
The game elements sound like they could be good. Shooting at aliens can be fun. But Creature Shock ranks a big stinking 0 on the excitement scale.
Oof.
I kept asking myself, yeah, okay, what's next? But there wasn't anything.
Creature Shock is one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life, and as you can imagine, that's up against some pretty stiff competition. The graphics are good, but apart from that, it's mindless, tedious,
Chat, do
and
you
about as
agree?
much fun as watching ink dry. Avoid it like the plague.
I'm still in shock that a reputable company like Virgin would release such god-awful dreck as this. Creature Shock is nothing more than an insult to the gaming public. I can't imagine anyone getting the slightest amount of pleasure from playing it. Worthless, worthless, worthless.
Yeah, I did not like Creature Shock. Let's see the pros and cons.
The
Pros.
graphics are very good. Apart from that, you can use the 2 CDs to play Tag Team Digital Frisbee after you've watched the intro a couple of times.
And the cons?
The control scheme for the opening flying sequence is totally inappropriate for a shooter and makes the game virtually unplayable. The rest of the game is
Virtually
nothing more than a
unplayable.
glorified target shooting contest and could only hold the interest of the dullest of accountant-type people.
Well, what else should we try? Siberia, Microcosm, and Nova Storm. Okay. All right, I said I was going to do Crime Patrol before the break, but I got to go to break now. So let me just switch us here. And for break, we're going to finish off this issue 7 of Boomerang magazine. So see you in about 10 minutes, folks.
So mythology is just stories?
Not just stories. Oh, that just does such terrible things to the word after it. No, the myths were also written as a kind of guidebook to nature. Nature-type nature and human nature. The Greeks were an ingenious people, but these stories were written thousands of years ago, before inches, before atoms, before E equals mc squared. There were natural events for which they had no sure explanation.
Like my baseball mitt disappearing.
Yes, very much like your baseball mitt disappearing. You may find that you left it out in the park, but not nearly as entertaining as the thought that perhaps your sister Sarah, upset when you caught her singing in front of the mirror, hid your glove to get even.
Hey, Hobbs,
Maybe I'm writing a book on American mythology. You want a winged centaur or a unicorn? Okay, now, back to Zeus. He and his wife played quite a game together. Zeus dreaming up incredible excuses and disguises to slip away. Hera always managing to blame someone else for her husband's behavior. And so it was this day for our poor Echo. Echo was an ordinary girl. Well, an ordinary wood nymph anyway, who pranced through the woods back in ancient times. She was also somewhat of a chatterbox. By her way of thinking, why use 10 words if 1,000 will do? Zeus decided to put Echo's chattering to good use. Good morning, Echo. Good morning, Zeus, and what a good morning it is. The sun is shining so brightly, isn't it lovely? I was just telling the girls, well, not really girls, they're actually young ladies. Well, really, some of them aren't so young either, but anyway, I was telling them all about the festival. Well, one might call it a picnic, actually, Echo, or maybe a big party, Echo, or rather a carnival-type festivities. Echo! Well, my goodness, what, Zeus? I'm sorry, dear Echo, but I have urgent business to attend to. I believe my dear wife, Hera, is close behind. Please seek her out and tell her all about this wonderful festival. She's a stickler for detail, you know, so please don't leave out the slightest crumb of information. Rabbit has fur. I'm sure you won't. Zeus bolted off into the forest to chase nymphs, while Echo diverted Hera with her wondrous web of words. By the way, Zeus was long gone, and Hera suspected.
Echo! You and your incessant chatter!
She screamed.
I'll fix that tongue of yours!
Then, in a fit of rage, she issued a curse.
From this day forth, you shall always have the last word, but never the power to speak first.
Now, this may seem like your brother saying he hopes you choke on a piece of cake, except that Hera meant it, and Hera could do it. Hera says it's gonna rain chickens and chipmunks. It rains chickens and chipmunks. From that moment on, speak on her own. All she could do was repeat the last thing she heard.
Harsh.
You want harsh? Not too long after that, our poor Echo happened upon, in the looks department, Narcissus was knockout. Everywhere he went, there was a crowd of admirers looking to get his attention, calling his name. This is Narcissus, you. Narcissus over here. Oh, please look this way. Wait, oh, you look so great. Just a profile. Please don't run. Smile and I'll faint. Narcissus had long since tired of all of them. He'd left broken hearts strewn across the country. The first glance at Narcissus, Echo, like so many before her, fell deeply in love with him. She desperately wanted to tell Narcissus that because of Hera's curse, she was doomed simply to repeat his last words. Stubbornly, though, she followed him into the forest one day. Narcissus had lost track of his hunting companions and was alone. Hearing Echo rustling in the brush, he called out, "Who is that?" Echo was jubilant. Finally, her chance to speak to him. "Is anyone here?" "Here, here," she repeated. Narcissus called out, "Come to me." "Come to me, come to me," Echo called back, almost crying now with excitement. Narcissus, "Don't leave. Why do you run from me? Come back. Let's get together." Never happier to say anything in her life, Echo leaped from the woods with her arms outstretched, repeating, "Let's get together, let's get together." Narcissus, startled by yet another lovesick admirer, pulled away. "Oh no, not this again. Are you crazy? Keep your hands off me. I would die before I would give you a chance at me." "I would give you a chance at me." Those were the last words that Echo would ever speak to anyone. Dejectedly, she slunk away deep into the woods. Unable to eat or sleep, she withered away until only her voice remained. Sometimes in remote places, you can still hear her today. Ah, but the one thing about these Greek and Roman gods, they did have a sense of fairness. Remember, Echo's was not the only heart to be shattered by Narcissus. Another admirer was so distraught that she raised her hands to the sky and called out, "May Narcissus love one day himself and never win over the creature that he loves." It just so happened that Nemesis, the goddess known for giving people exactly what they deserve, overheard what she'd said. She had seen how Narcissus had ruthlessly turned away all yearning hearts, including Echo's, and decided that this request was exactly what he had coming to him. And so Narcissus lay down to rest by the edge of a beautiful pond. As he was about to dip his hands into the smooth, still water for a drink, he noticed a face looking back at him. A face as handsome as this he had never seen. Now you see, this was the age before mirrors as we know them, and most mortals were unaware of their own features. "Ho, ho, 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 my beautiful creature, who are you?" He reached down into the water, and the ripples caused by his dangling fingers chased the reflection away. "Why do you tease me so? When I smile at you, you smile. When I reach out for you, you do the same. But when I get too close, you flee. In a minute, the stranger's face returned, and Narcissus lovingly bent down to kiss the face. And again the stranger disappeared, maddened that he should finally fall in love only to have that person reject him. Narcissus began pounding at his chest and clawing at his face. One final time, the water became still. Seeing that once perfect face, now covered with welts and scratches, he wailed and cried, and he wailed some more. Day and night he stayed by the edge of the pool, not eating nor sleeping, growing weaker and weaker, unwilling and unable to leave his beloved. As fate would have it, Echo couldn't help but repeat his final words to the loved one in the pool. Alas, alas, farewell, my love. Farewell, my love. As he died, one final tear ran down his cheek and onto the ground. From it sprang up a small white flower with a yellow center. We know that flower today as a narcissus. Now then, how about that cup of hot apple cider?
That's it for this issue, Boomers, but stay tuned. Next issue, we've got a bunch of brand new stories, including one from Dave Schmade.
So take care of each other out there, and remember, it all comes back.
I'm back, and that was issue 7, volume 3 of Boomerang. Thank you to everyone coming in from Cactus Bee Stream. Hi. We're finishing off this issue of Interactive Entertainment 09. We're going through the articles now, the reviews, the previews, and the hints and tips. You missed the Battle Bug segment, but that's okay. I'm sick of those Battle Bugs. But next up, we have a certified FMV classic with Crime Patrol.
Die-hard fans of target shooting games are sure to rush right out and pick up Crime Patrol, the new CD-ROM game from American Laser Games, and they'll probably enjoy it. For the rest of us, Crime Patrol is an initially interesting game that gets old way too fast. In Crime Patrol, you play a cop as you shoot your way through Rookie, Undercover, SWAT Team, and Delta
Sorry
Force
about the
missions.
echo, I fixed it.
The play mechanic is as simple as they come. Shoot the bad guys with your mouse, and try not to get shot. Gameplay is identical to last year's Mad Dog McCree, with no obvious changes or improvements over the video quality or game engine. The digitized movie sequences always follow the same script, so playing them boils down to remembering the pattern. Stationary shooting gallery style scenes have randomized bad guys. This would have been a lot more fun with a gun for the controller. The mouse, while functional, makes the game far too easy, and the players are likely to tire of the game very quickly. The video in Crime Patrol is fairly pixelated, but moves quite quickly. If this is the kind of game you're seriously fanatical about, you should be happy. But for most people,
there's still
Crime
some
Patrol
stuff
is
in the room,
crippled
but
by
I
a
did
poor
pack up a
control
lot of my
device
desk, so
and
the
an
desk is
almost
pretty
total
empty.
lack of replay value. Expect it to gather dust ASAP.
All right, Crime Patrol, garbage.
Die-hard fans.
Garbage game that fucking sucks, apparently.
The video
Pros?
is of decent quality and the sound is very good. The installation takes up practically no hard drive space, and you can start playing the game seconds after you break the shrink wrap.
Oh, I'm packing the cats. Don't
In Crime
worry.
Patrol-
They're coming along too. They. In fact, one of them's going to get a new. We're not giving them a new cat tree until they get used to the new place. We're giving them a new cat tree soon. What are the cons
Your
of
mouse
Crime
doesn't
Patrol?
come close to giving you the same feeling as an arcade pistol, and the enhanced accuracy of an on-screen cursor makes the game far too easy. It's initially entertaining, but it's not likely to hold your attention long enough to merit the purchase price.
All right, and we should
The
also.
digiti-
My said we should also try Mad Dog McCree, Mad Dog 2, and Space Pirates. Cyclemania.
Ever since Henry Ford introduced the Model T, and probably even before then, mankind has felt the need for speed. An urge to surge, a passion for dashing. Well, at least I have anyway.
You can't go Joker on me,
You're a perfect
dude.
representation of all mankind. I have to agree with you, though. It's fun to go fast.
For all of us afflicted with this common disorder, Accolade offers up Cyclemania, a motorcycle racing game that should satisfy most critics who feel that popular racing games are too slow.
Cyclemania is pretty much the same as most games of its type, except for the fact that it uses full motion video footage to provide the racetracks and background.
Each of the 5 courses is, for all intents and purposes, an actual road. The backgrounds look terrific, and clarity is kept rather well considering the high speeds that your simulated racer is traveling at. The mountains and trees are no more blurry than they should be.
From the main menu, you can choose to either go out on a practice run.
This is just how
or
games should
participate
look.
on a competitive racing tour.
Practice mode lets you select any bike and any course. The 3 available motorcycles are rated in handling, acceleration, durability, and top speed. Each has strengths and weaknesses, but all 3 are equally balanced.
In a practice run, it's basically you versus the clock and the various course obstacles. There's no competition from other bikers. Your lap time is always visible in the upper right-hand corner, and you can exit back to the main menu at any time. Should you crash, that is, when you crash, you'll be treated to a wonderful digitized video clip of a real flesh and blood human being who actually had to suffer through the same demise. How touching.
After you've done your homework, it's time to enter a race.
It's on Steam.
Choose
Good.
a bike and check out the bike shop.
Oh
Here,
my God,
you can
I love
purchase
this
vehicle
aesthetic.
upgrades like better tires and shocks. These things cost money, which you don't initially have, though. The way to get the goods is to win the races. You'll start off on a fairly easy course with a 5-lap requirement, and if you use the default settings, some pretty cheesy competition. You'll blow past them in no time.
This isn't to say that the whole circuit will be as easy. No siree. Even though
No
your
siree.
fellow bikers will continue to be rather lacking in the talent department, the courses will become more and more treacherous.
As much as I hate to say it, some of the curves on the later courses actually require you to slow down to get by them without spinning out and slamming your frail body into the pavement. Bummer.
Speaking of bummers, I can't say that I found Cyclemania to be an even mildly accurate representation of real motorcycle racing. The real thing can't be this easy, can it?
No. But then again, the real thing also costs several $1,000s and requires considerable effort. So what if a person can't really lean into a turn so hard their nose brushes the ground? Cyclemania lets you do that and get away with it. Do you also complain about Doom not being a realistic simulation?
Well, let's just say that Cyclemania is more of an arcade game than a sim. This is fine, though, as its simplicity probably appeals to a wider audience.
Sure, you accelerate, steer, and as a last resort, brake. Nothing complicated about that, and there's no blood either, so it's perfectly okay for you cautious parents to buy Cyclemania for your kids. They'll have fun with it, just don't expect them to learn anything.
Unlike all those games where you learn things. Pros.
Cyclemania is fast, which is certainly an asset considering that it's a racing game. The 5 courses are beautiful to look at and feature very realistic terrain, mainly because they were created using digitized video footage. You can save your games and view crash highlights at any time.
And the cons?
Listen carefully.
Okay.
This is not a sim. This is not NASCAR racing with motorcycles. Cyclemania requires virtually 0 effort and doesn't really leave you with any sense of accomplishment. Unless you're young and ignorant, the fun dies down pretty rapidly.
Well, unless you're ignorant, then you're, Road Rash 3DO, pole position in IndyCar racing. Why not give those a try? He really hated this. Respect. Dark Sun 2. Oh, okay.
So, you got Premier's hammer, huh? Well, the Fire Ruby is your next goal, and retrieving
It's
it will
more
require some
it's more
assistance from a
hints
race
and
of
tips. That's
reptilians
cool.
called the Verena.
I like the way this guy
like
looks.
anyone else in this game,
Hey, you
will
want my
need to
orb?
help them.
I got a good
Remember
orb.
that secret door that Matthias of the Veiled Alliance showed you before he kicked the bucket? Head through that door and into the far room. You'll notice a tapestry on the wall depicting a mountain landscape. This tapestry is actually a portal, and to activate it, you'll need a piece of coal from the brazier in the corner of the room. touch the coal to the tapestry, and off you go. Welcome to, wherever you are. Head south, and you'll notice some fire elementals surrounding a cute little lizard guy. He'll ask for your help, and it would be pretty darn cruel not to oblige, now wouldn't it? Kick some ash, and Prosser, the young Varini, will talk to you.
Oh, what a baby!
Proceed east until you come to a dead Draxon. Search him and read the scroll he was carrying. In the northeast, there is a pile of rocks which are guarded secretly by Varini. Approach the rocks and talk to the Varini there. Draxans will ambush you, and you must help the Varini kill them. After this is done, the lizardmen will almost be convinced that you're a friend. All you need to do is kill the remaining Draxans in their camp to the west. Do this, then return to the Varini guards, and one of them will let you into the Temple of Order. Listen closely to the Varini meeting, then go speak with Fori, the tribal storyteller, who can be found northeast of the meeting hall. Sorval, a famous Varini explorer, has
I like
died
this guy too. These are
and
good
your party should
creatures.
agree to help investigate his death. Speak with Nortimus, the leader of the Order, about starting an investigation.
Okay.
He can be found just east of the meeting area near the library.
I like the
Exit
lizard
meeting hall
friends.
region to the north, and you'll enter the northern wing. In a small room near the center of this region, there is a book on the floor. Read it, and then exit the region the way you entered. Go south through the meeting hall area and exit the region to the south. This brings you to the southern wing. In the center of the region is a circle of statues. One of the statues resembles a humanoid beast. Search it to retrieve a scroll. Read this scroll, and then take it back to Nortimus. Nortimus will call a meeting and ask you to continue investigating. Travel to the southern wing again and speak with Prosser, the yellow Varini who you saved. He lives on the eastern side of the region. He'll tell you about Sorval, and if asked nicely, give you Sorval's notebook. Read each chapter of the book, and you'll come to a part where Sorval mentions binding his journal inside a mineral analysis book. Go to the library, find the book, and take the key inside it. Go speak with Elevin, a Greek Varini who lives in the northern wing. Ask him about the key, and he'll tell you that it unlocks an amulet that was buried with Sorval's body. Go to the tombs. Upon arriving there, you'll be told that Sorval's grave was robbed.
I just want to give
Search
him
it
a
anyway,
hug, you
then
know?
leave. You'll be stopped by a messenger who tells you that the grave robber was caught. Speak with Roan, who is usually near the temple gates, about getting an audience with Ulban, the thief. Knock on the prison door and tell Sylvan, the jailer, that you want to see Ulban. After questioning Ulban with little success, ask Sylvan to help you out. Promise not to hurt Ulban. Sylvan will agree, and Ulban will be too frightened to withstand you. He'll tell you where the amulet is. Go get it, and then watch while the PC takes over for a bit. After the mini-drama, agree to recover the fire ruby for the Varini. You are timed during your expedition into the volcano, so speed is of the essence. Descend the stairs and head southeast. Kill
Yeah, I
any
wanna play
Draxons you need
this.
and continue east. You'll come across some stranded Varini children. Help them by pushing a pedestal into the lava so they can walk across. Do not agree to escort them to the exit, though, as you are in a hurry. Head to the northeast corner of the region where you will find Galinix's dying body. Speak with him and then head west to a large bridge. Draxons will try to stop you from getting across by destroying the bridge. Make your way across quickly and ruin their day. After this, continue west to the extremely nasty maze of stones. You must step on the stones in the correct sequence or the volcano will erupt before you get across. For a visual guide to completing this maze, use Windows Paintbrush to print out darksun.bmp found in the
we saw that
directory of your
earlier.
CD. Special thanks to SSI for supplying this information. Be sure to check
we were
out
looking at
their
that
hint book
earlier when
for
we looked at the
additional
envelope
information
art.
not found in this walkthrough. Slay the Draxons that meet you when you finish the maze. Proceed along the windy path to the southeast. You'll end up near a Draxon Templar who takes the fire ruby and sends some golems to fight you. Kill the golems and head north across the two stones that bridge the lava. Follow the path around until pillars block your way. Jump across them to the area beyond where you will face the Templar and his minions. Kill everyone quickly